Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. Let's get outside in that cold garage out there. Let's get the lower wing mounted to the Fokker D7. For those of you that saw the last video, I went ahead, we got the firewall mounted, and then we put the engine on that firewall. And got everything trued up so we know the engine's in the right position. So the only thing I had left to do is to go ahead and put the lid on the top of that to box out the whole front end of the fuselage, where I'm going to be putting the fuel tank. Now, with the fuel tank, I searched all over the place. I could have swore up and down I had another 28-ounce fuel tank. I didn't, so lucky me. I work about 2 miles from Dubro, and yeah, I've had long history going over there. Matter of fact, I actually knew Dewey before he passed away. I used to do worked at a large indoor facility, and we had indoor flying on Fridays, and he was actually able to stop down there a couple times before he passed on. So anyway, enough about that. Gave them a call, and they had it ready. Went over about 10 minutes later, picked it up, so I'm good to go. So we're going with 20-ounce tank. Even though it's a 38cc gas engine, I don't think I'm going to have an issue powering this thing, because my typical flights are usually somewhere around 10 minutes. I don't fly for an extended periods of time. And the biplane, the smoking biplane, the Kristen Special, that one has a 38cc two-stroke on it, and that's got a 16-ounce tank, and I can go 15 minutes on that one. So guaranteed I can get at least 20 minutes, possibly up to a half-hour flight on the Fokker, because the Fokker does not fly that fast, and this thing will never really have to go at a wide open throttle. Scale speed on that plane should be about 30 miles an hour, and they will fly fine at that speed. It's pretty much about the way they were built to fly back in the day. So before I bring it back in and show you measurements I made on this one, because I don't know if I included it in the last video, and you'll be somewhat surprised on how something else wasn't really built properly on this one. Go figure. So let me go ahead and we're going to bring you out into the shop, the big shop, the cold shop, and show you what I've got set up out there on the table. All right, the reason why I've got this set up out here the way I do is because I want to show you what I had to do for measurements up front to translate everything to the very back of the airplane. This is the fun part, guys. All right, what I had to do is I had to come on in and I had to find at least one indicator line, so I knew which way we were working it pretty much when the plane is level at 0 degrees. And this is where it's going to get fun. It's what I needed to do to get a true measurement on the tail of the airplane. So what I was able to do is come on in. It looked like the line coming across the top here, up on the top of the, whatever you want to call this part, the cheek, for up front by the firewall. This looked like it was parallel with this line down here, which is that bottom plate inside the front that the firewall pretty much gets attached to. So what I did is I came in with a big long ruler. This is my 4-foot yardstick for those that have heard me call it that before. So we came in, drew a line across, came over, and yes, I had to jump back to metric again because that's the way it works better. Came in, measured from this line down, 185 millimeter in the front, 185 in the back. So we knew that this long line and this short one down here, that this was true to the length of the fuselage. So that way, that's going to be really good. What I'm going to have to do to come down here to get the angle of this. So what I did, the other part, was because this right here, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. I'm going to try to do it here. I'll set it up this way. It might be easier for you to see on the camera. Right here is when this line starts to disappear below, and you can see how the 1/4 inch by 3/8 longeron, how that pretty much just comes in and disappears. So we know right from here it starts sloping down towards the tail. So right here is where I made a mark. I came down and measured on 185 millimeters, made a little, pretty much just a little crosshatch right here, where I knew that that would be a good place to start. came in with my straight edge, and right from the top of this all the way out to where this point is, it's true in line with this lower piece with the 1/8 inch ply. So from there I just started doing some dashed lines down just so I can continue to transfer down. And when I came all the way back here by the end of the fuselage, went ahead and made some more marks here on the paper. So I've got one here and here, and then from here all the way up to the leading edge of the horizontal stabilizer was 125 millimeter. Came back from this line all the way up to the rear, the trailing edge of the horizontal stabilizer, 113 millimeters. So rise over run came out that this was at 2.75 degrees. This is stuff that when I look at plans, I have to come in and measure, just because, yeah, that's what you get to do. All right, so we went ahead and grabbed the smart level, went inside here, and I will do it. You're just gonna have to trust me on this one. We are all powered on, and I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna do a reset on it. And that should say 0 degrees, and there's no way you're going to be able to see that, but it does say 0 degrees. So we're at 0.0. So, and that is my reference point. This is what I did on the plans outside. So this is what we're going to use back here. And we come in and lay that down. And I don't know how well you can see it. There we go. 3.4 degrees. So it was 2.75 out there, 3.4 in here. Now, what that's really showing me is that nobody was paying very close attention when they were putting this the fuselage together. I might be okay with that, and the reason why is because you don't know how well everything, how well the tail, where the tail is going to ride under flight. The 3rd scale Tailorcraft that I built, that great big orange monster, when I got that one, it was a set of Bob Nellis plans, and people's biggest complaint was that the plane climbed viciously at higher throttle settings. So the faster you went, the more it just pitched that nose up. And realizing that that might just be a problem in the plans. Now, I never had a set of plans. I had to make a broad-based assumption that because it was the plane that was built off of Nellis plans, I think that that's just part of the issue with the plans. So what I ended up doing with that plane was I was able to download a set of real drawings for the fuselage. So that way you knew how everything was set up and you could find out what angle that horizontal stabilizer needed to be at. So what I did with that one was I included more of a pitch up on it. So what you're doing is the higher the speed, the more likely you're going to carry that tail higher, less chance of having the plane climb out. So it's very possible that might be part of the problem with this plane, not sure. So as luck would have it, got a subscriber, RC Dogman, Space Duh, sent in a little, pretty much just a little comment, and it wasn't a little comment, it was a big comment, about the problems he had with it doing the same kind of climbing issue. That he had the same kind of climbing issue that I was having with the Tailorcraft. And what I did to the Tailorcraft was I made it right. So my goal at that point was to see if I can get an accurate angle of attack of the H-stab on the real ones. Granted, this does not have a true wing either. It's not an under camber wing. It is what it is. So we're going from a relatively semi-symmetrical, almost flat bottom wing to something that on the real one had an under camber to it. So that thing had to really be set up differently, because the amount of lift you're going to get off the under camber versus the wing on here is almost night and day. So what I did was I got another set of plans out, because it's a set of plans I had since February of 2006. All right, so let me go ahead and show you these plans. All right, these are Jerry Behrens. I'm going to say it's Behrens, B-E-H-R-A-N or R-E-N. So it's like Jimmy Behrens set of plans. And this is his quarter scale Fokker. And as you can see, the wings on this one we've got true ribs. We've got undercamber, and it's a box rib. This was a plane I was going to build years ago, never did. And yeah, I would not have bought a Balsa USA if I was going to build one from a set of plans. This was going to be the one. It's just the Balsa USA one fell into my hands free of charge, so it was kind of a tough call not to say, yeah, I'll take it. You're probably used to this view because we get to do it all over again. So what I did is I came in, found out that this set of plans, it doesn't have a motor mount built in. The way that this one was whole set up, there was no floor that the motor can attach to, or the firewall attached to. It just attaches to the sides. So what we're going to do with this one, at least they give us a datum line down the middle. So, and you probably can't see it through that camera. So you're just going to go and have to trust me on this one. All right, we do have a solid line going down the middle. At least that's what it appears to be. Right above that is going to be the thrust line set up for the firewall, and you're probably looking at 1 to 2 degrees. I'm going to say it's probably closer to 1 degree on the firewall. So we're going to go ahead and take our straight edge, line this up on the line. Now let's see if there's somewhere up on top here that we can use for measurement, so that way we can reference this line with another part of the airplane, because the only other option is going to be on pretty much the tail end of the aircraft, and you got to hope that the rudder is going to be at 90 degrees to this line up front. So we'll find out. But because I'm going to edge my way down there, I just want to take a couple measurements here in the middle just to see if we're going to get the same numbers. Because before, right behind the cockpit was where the Balsa USA angled down. So I'm kind of hoping we're going to be good to this mark back here. So as we go up front, let's get back to our metric side of life here. We are coming in at 110 millimeters. Now as we come all the way back to here, we are at pretty much 111 and a half. So it does, so this is not true to the top of this right here, or to the bottom of it. So the best thing for us to do is just go ahead, and we're going to assume at the moment that this line up here is straight. So I'm just going to come in, just draw a couple more lines down here. And then we'll slide this down. And as we come down here, we'll line these back up again. And then as we get to the back right here, we will find out, and I wish we had better light down here, because we really don't. I'm going to see if I can get another light, just so that you can kind of see what I'm working with down here. So if you come on in and you can see this line, that's pretty close to true. So I'm okay with that. So let's just go ahead. We're going to say that the rear part of the fuselage is true. So from that standpoint, next on our list of tricks, let's go ahead and make a measurement from the location of our straight edge up to the bottom. Or let's see, let's go with the top. All right, so up in the front, we're at 109 millimeter. And then in the back, we are at 106 millimeter. Now the distance that we're traveling, so we're 109 and 106, and we are actually coming back (309 millimeters). So we're actually coming back 309 millimeter, and there's a change in rise of 3 millimeters. So it's not going to be a very high angle of attack. So let's head back up into the shop and let's get it figured out. And as you can see it, hopefully it's in focus, we are at 3 millimeters rise over 309 run, and it comes out to be 0.56 degrees. So then the question is, when you see you can have that much difference on the tail of a Fokker D7, and it all has to do with the angle of attack of the wings. That's going to be the biggest play in how to take care of, because they want you to have 0 on the bottom, 0 on the top. So on my my Classic Sport Bipe, the Kristen Special, that 0 at the bottom, -2 negative incidence at the front, up on the top. And that's what I needed to get rid of the problem that people are having with this. I can't find anything in the through any forum, RC groups, that people, best way to describe this, that people have come to some kind of consensus on where to get things measured at. Because I've seen people where they say that theirs flies great, and then there's other people, they say they have to throw a whole bunch of down elevator in just to get the thing so that its speed, it's not going to continue to climb up. You're raising the tail up. So my whole thing is, do I leave this one the way it is at 3.4, or do I mod the tail out where I'm lifting the rear, the rearest, the most rear section of the horizontal stabilizer? I would probably have to bring that thing up about 1/8 of an inch just to try to get it back to where it needs to be for this plane. Yeah, I kind of want to throw a question out to you guys. Have any of you built this and you did go ahead and measure the horizontal stabilizer just to see the angle of attack on that one? Just to see if that's part of the problem, or is it going to be because I have to make sure that they want it 1 to 2 degrees of up incidence from the bottom wing, but they also want the bottom wing to be at 0 degrees. So I got to try to figure out how to get that bottom wing at 0 degrees, because that's going to be the hard part. So, and that's going to be the whole thing with going ahead and getting this wing mounted. So I guess with all the info I just stuffed into your heads, let's just go ahead and call this installing the lower wing part 1. As much as I really don't want to do a 2-part series on it, I want to hear what you guys, if any of you have actually built this and you're watching it just because you wanted to see somebody else build it, or if you've had problems with yours. Just because I want to try to figure out what to do. I know that what Balsa USA really wants you to do is they want you to change the angle of attack of the motor. They actually want more down pitch. Mine's at 1 degree right now, and I really shouldn't need any more than 1 degree on this plane. But that's got to do with how the wings are mounted. And then the thing is, have any of you guys, when you went ahead and put one of these planes together, if you made it all to plans and you had an issue with the flight, did you go ahead and just change the incidence on the top wing? Because that's what I had to do to the Classic Sport Bipe. I had to raise the tail just to give it 2 degrees of down, and that took care of all the problems I was having with that plane. So tell me what you think, and I'll see you back down here tomorrow morning in the shop.